Hello, my beautiful rainbow people. Welcome back to the Potsmoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Potsmoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament of the Christian Bible. I use the King James Version of the Bible to put together the prophecy of Israel from the scattered testimony of the various Old Testament prophets. It became the book of Zion, and I found contained within it, a set of instructions that I was uniquely qualified to undertake. So I did, and I'm so glad I did. So, in order to conclude my bid to be the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, I am required to publish peace, and that is what I am doing by reading to you from the two books that I have written, the Potsmoker's Bible and the Book of Zion. And today I'm reading to you from the 27th chapter of the Potsmoker's Bible. It contains the 24th and final chapter of the Book of Zion. And I'm going to start out with Hosea 2:17. For I will take away the names of Balaam from out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their names. This is most definitely true. I couldn't find any references to a Baali on Google. Only the Torah references to it. So Baali is the lost identity of an ancient god long defunct, as will all of the other ancients or false names of God become. By the third generation of Zion, those names will be bywords. The God represented by these names will be forgotten, just as we no longer remember who Baali was. We will soon also forget Jesus and Allah and Krishna, because these deities are gone. And without someone to remember those names, their meanings will fade. They will be forgotten. The next part of the passage, and in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of the heavens, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and will make them to lie down safely. Only by forsaking what has been can we truly start over. We must forget the old ways in order to create something new. Our old way of doing things was based on the idea that we humans are somehow above other life forms on Earth. We must reject all of our false beliefs and rituals, like that one, and start from scratch. Because we have a false sense of identity. We believe that being created by God means that we are above all other things. We were told to protect life on Earth, but we decided that the only life that mattered was our own. So we only protect our lives. We are wrong about so many things, and all of it adds up to we're the only ones that matter. But in reality, all life matters, not just human life. So we must find a new paradigm, a new sense of self. We are one of many life forms on this earth. Each life form has its own right to exist. We, who are the most advanced, must nurture all those who are ascending in their own species. We are the eldest race on Earth, by virtue of our ancient gray DNA. As eldest, we are obligated to teach and protect our younger brothers and sisters of Earth. Each species on Earth, be it insect, bird, animal, or human, is on an evolutionary path. Now, 11 of these species have parent races off-world. Those 11 species will be set on an accelerated evolutionary path that will allow many to evolve to an equal status to our own. So we will see other life forms begin to evolve into sentient forms once we emerge from our mountain home. The only way to ensure evolution of the lower species is to provide for a peaceful coexistence. Our chaotic, cruel social belief system in the superior human has kept all life forms on Earth from having the means to evolve. Evolution up until now has been a violent enterprise. Our warlike nature has forced evolution into a survival mode that prevents ascension. First, we must end war. Then we can balance between, then we can become true shepherds of Earth. We can create the means for all life on Earth to ascend to its highest form of being. Only when we no longer need to defend life can life be free to evolve beyond basic needs. Our warlike nature has disrupted evolution. By ending war, we create a means for all to evolve. This new covenant with all life forms on Earth is the dawning of a new age on Earth, an age of ascension, where every living thing is known to be sentient and all things equal. All life is sacred. All life is sentient. All life evolves. We, too, are just a part of life on Earth. One form of many. Equal to all. Bound to all in the web of life. I live this covenant. You can too. The next part of the passage, and I will betroth thee unto me forever, even yea, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness, and in judgment, and in loving kindness, and in mercy. Here is the covenant. We will become part of the universal order. Our world will join all others in the Federation. We will protect life on Earth. We will help lesser species on Earth to evolve to their highest potential. We will take our true place in the natural order. We will maintain a balance in population on Earth. As the eldest species on Earth and the first to evolve, it is our bound duty to nurture others who are also on paths of ascension, as nature intends. By embracing this new covenant, we will be righteous, just, loving, kind, and very merciful. These are the true treasures of spirit, to become the personification of this new covenant. Because a covenant is an eternal vow. It changes the vowee forever. That person embodies the vow. A true Nazarene can't imbibe alcohol. Their bodies will reject the forbidden drink. If they don't, they haven't become the vow. They will not truly be bound to that vow. A covenant is all-encompassing. Its nature is eternal, creating permanent change, a paradigm shift. The next part of the passage, I will betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know the Lord. As is the way of the matrix, we must first conceive of a thought form before we can create change. So faith must be the seed of all change. We first must believe before we can have the will to act. If our faith is lacking, our will is weak. Active will creates change. A will that is weakened by lack of faith has already failed. That is why numbers matter. The matrix runs by majority rule. The more belief, the more real it seems. Once we have taken the covenant as our own, we are promised to be allowed to know God. The false paradigm of modern society has kept us from knowing God. Our acceptance of their terms to nurture life opens up communications. It's not enough to call on issue. You have to accept the covenant of life. Then The threefold God becomes knowable. The next part of the passage, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will hear, saith the Lord. I will hear the heavens, and they will hear the earth. So here is our promised covenant from the threefold God. God, the gray, will hear us. We will hear them. We will always have a connection to the threefold God. The gray will be our family, the universe our neighborhood, and ascension our goal. The threefold God, the highest form of God, will never again isolate the planet Earth or remove themselves from our consciousness. That is the promise of the Most High God. The next part of the passage, and the earth will hear the corn and the wine and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel. Jezreel means sown by God. The seed of Israel is the marijuana plant. The souls that accept and nurture this seed is Zion. So Jezreel is another name for Zion, the Son of God. We become the priests by separating ourselves from humanity through drug use. The drugs were the seeds that God planted in our souls. We are Jezreel. And we know that plants like corn are life forms that are bound to the earth through dark negative acts of will in a prior age. So the earth can hear the corn. And if all parts of a thing are alive, all things are made up of life. So the wine embodies all its components, as is oil, and all mixtures. Life is all is life. Plants are alive. They can be heard, and we already know they can hear us. Which leads us to Isaiah 25:8, which is Zion 24:51. He shall swallow up death in victory, and the Lord God will wipe away tears from all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth, for the Lord hath spoken it. Dead has always been a failsafe. It's a reboot. The body dies, but the soul goes on. And it's this aspect that we are talking about here. Even I don't believe that death can be done away with, but the fear of it can be eliminated. It's the fear of death that will change. Ascension is the victory over death, knowing that death is only for a failed soul, can lead us all to a new pathway that will eventually lead to the ascension of the soul into a higher form. Eventually, the soul's matings and evolution can lead to a deathless state. The Godhead, to become an eternal being, an immortal being, that is victory over death. That immortality isn't easy to obtain, and the only way to truly get to it is to seek something else entirely. Immortality is not the goal. It's part of the journey. Death isn't the end of the soul. It's the end of the body, its name, and its memories. The knowledge always goes on. That is the eternal part, the part that knows. To know that the soul is separate from the body is to have victory over death. The body is part of the earth. The soul is energy. It comes from the sun, the mating of God and goddess, at the conception of the solar system. It gave birth to all earthly souls. You are a soul, not a body. Death doesn't affect the soul. And there I am going to end for the day. So may the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, keep you from all harm, and teach you right from wrong. May you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. Make that your guild choice when we get to Camp Zion. Stay happy and high. If you use drugs, you have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know. I wrote 2 books about it. I am the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, the prophet foretold in Isaiah 54, and I have come to set us all free. So, I'll never say goodbye. I'll always say later.